about yourself, which is what I think any good healing modality needs to do. Show you more of yourself. It gives us permission to let the parts of ourselves that we push down or back or judge, we make room for them to speak their truth.
So, welcome, Henri, to Quantum Conversations, where we get to talk about all things quantum touch and how it impacts our lives. Henri Rand Furgiuele is one of the original quantum touch instructors, certified personally by founder Richard Gordon in 1999. She's based in Honolulu, Hawaii, and is a certified instructor for levels 1 through 7, an instructor, trainer, and mentor, and quantum touch ambassador. She has over 28 years of experience in her private practice and has taught more than 8,000 students worldwide. So welcome, Henri.
Oh, thank you so much. It's a joy to be here.
I'm so excited to hear all of your wisdom and experience, because you've got to experience and really be with quantum touch from the beginning. So I would love to know, what was quantum touch like in those early days, and how have you seen it evolve over the past 25 years?
Think about the settlers going in out west on horseback where there were no trails. That was sort of what it felt like at the time. No one knew what the word quantum meant unless you were actually a trained and a physicist. And so that was the first question. What does quantum mean? And then how can you touch at a quantum level? And then it went on from there to what is energy healing. But in the individual, there were 4 of us certified. There was no headquarters. We did not have the book. Richard was writing the book, Quantum Touch, the Power to Heal. But somehow the word telegraph, there was no central organization yet. It was one guy who trained 4 people, and we were each moving around in our areas. People would email me from Florida. I heard about quantum touch. Can you come here and teach? I was Tennessee, Martha's Vineyard. I mean, I traveled all over the place, meeting the most incredible people, all with the hunger to understand that they had an ability to heal themselves, and this could help make it happen for them. It didn't take long for the word to spread, for the people to grow, for my practice to really grow. For me, the next shift in that practice was when I moved back to Hawaii, where I had lived earlier in my life. Because every time I would do a healing session, I would hear the ancient Hawaiian chanting in my head. So I moved back to Hawaii, which opened me to a whole different part of the global community, and began teaching not just in Hawaii, in the different islands, but also Japan, South Korea, Hong Kong, Macau, mainland China, and then Australia, and then. So it just has kept growing. It's had a life of its own. Richard's books have stimulated that progress and process, and the additional classes have made it grow. So it is actually extraordinary to know from that one person having this one idea and a passion to share, all of this has happened, and all these people have been helped.
Yeah, that's incredible. And how do you feel? Because I find it fascinating, the evolution of quantum touch, right? It started as one workshop, and then it was another discovery of what was possible. So how do you experience that being alongside that process over the last 28 years?
You think you know a class? You think you know a material? And then you hear it differently.
Yeah.
When I began working with the curriculum department of Quantum Touch, with colleague Miriam Hunter, we were co-creating the first of student manuals, then instructor manuals. That's when the real education began, because when you're languaging something, it's not just practicing, it's not just spontaneous speaking. It requires a deeper level of integration. So that was just another snowballing of awarenesses of the beautiful capacity still inside each of us, and the
Mhm.
stories that support that, and the data that keeps showing up over and over to support
Mhm.
that.
Mhm.
So I don't
Mhm.
care how many times you listen to a workshop, if you really open your ears and you open your heart, it's going to change you, and then you will hear it from a different place. So
Mhm.
there's no end. That's
Absolutely.
the good news.
I mean, I experienced that just as a level one instructor because every time you take the
Mm.
workshop, it's like the people who came and the questions and the concerns that they have, it shapes it into a new experience and you get to see it in a new way. Not just see it, like feel it. Like you really do
Yeah.
feel a new aspect of it. And I think that's what surprised me. I think I would have thought, oh yeah, one workshop, I'm just going to keep repeating it. But it doesn't get old.
It's cosmic humor, I call
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. And you talk about the universality of it. That, can you explain what you mean by that and what you love about that?
Any one particular, I don't care what culture you're from, what particular spiritual belief you have or don't have. I don't care what gender you are, what age you are, how your mindset is shaped by the language you speak. There's something universal under all of that. We
Hmm.
each have a blueprint for well-being.
Hmm.
And I never knew that when I was growing up.
Hmm.
This is something that needs to be attached to babies when they come out of the womb. Blueprint intact for well-being, folks. Work
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah.
But it's not. And so that blueprint for well-being knows what we need and is automatically resonating in a field that interacts with everyone else's blueprint for well-being, so
Hmm.
that there is a brilliant orchestration that
Hmm.
brings you what you're ready for next.
Hmm.
And quantum touch really opens your door to being consciously aware of that blueprint, how to
Hmm.
work with it, how to
Hmm.
appreciate the signals when they show up, and boy, do they show up
Hmm.
in all aspects of your life, just not just body.
Hmm.
What have you found about?
I feel that, but I also see that. And
Mhm.
I think the more I become aware and play and really experience the energy, I see it around me in terms of people's natural instincts. If someone is
Yes.
hurt, you naturally want to come in and give them a hug. And I'm really becoming aware of this even with my own family, right? My son comes to me, he's not feeling well, he has a tummy ache, right? But he has his hands on his stomach. Like he already knows on some level that he came to me with his hands on his stomach. So why would he put his hands on his stomach? Or, you're like, oh, I'm so stressed, or oh, my head hurts. And you're naturally going to put your hand there. And I see that with other people too. I see them, you see someone is feeling down and their loved one comes and comforts them and sits beside them. And maybe they're not going to talk, they just want to sit beside them, right? They just want that presence, that co-regulation. And I mean, terms like
Mm.
co-regulation and nervous system regulation, all of those are kind of becoming buzzwords now,
Right,
but
right.
we already know this just by watching people.
Mhm. And the animals will just come sit by
Yes,
you if you're in stress,
yes,
or you are feeling something more. They'll just come and nestle right up next to your feet or go in your
yeah.
lap. Yeah, same thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
We have animals on our property and I was running the energy to one of the birds, one of our turkeys, because she looked like she needed some help. And we had this bunny that wasn't doing well, but the bunny was really skittish and scared and just always kind of kept away and we couldn't get near the bunny. So I'm sitting, running energy to the turkey for, I don't know, maybe 2 to 5 minutes. I can't even remember how much time. And then when I stood up to leave, I almost tripped over the bunny because the bunny had come right up behind me and I didn't even see her. And that just blew my mind because we've never been able to get close to her. So I thought that was really
Mhm.
interesting.
It's not the larger energetic circulation and connection is so much more than just between human and human.
Hmm.
It's with human and life, human and tree, human and animals, human and the air we breathe. I mean, there's a deeper, wider
Mm-hmm.
interweaving of vibration.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when we start separating ourselves from that larger feel and think humans, well, we are supers, right? We lose our bigger, wider support system.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm so happy to hear you noticing these other kinds of synchronicities that open eyes and open your heart. Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
wonderful.
Yeah. Another observation
Mhm.
I've made is just from watching my kids. And you talk about we all have this innate intelligence within us. And I believe that because I've experienced so many synchronicities just with that. But I find it really interesting to watch and observe my kids because I, from my own conditioning, might decide that this is the best way to do something. And if my kids don't do it
Mhm.
that way, I can get really upset or anxious about that. But if I just become aware of that and just observe how they're going to do it, they always find a better way. And it's so humbling. So I've had to realize that there is something within them. They have this idea, this way of doing things. And if I can observe, create safe parameters around them, but if I can just allow them to follow what they are thinking, it's incredible. And that has been a really humbling experience. Yeah.
That's wonderful. You can feel that.
Hmm.
The breath is the other part of quantum touch because it is not breath driven, but it is one of the vehicles through which we get our nourishment. That everyone on the planet gets their nourishment through breath. That's
Hmm.
another one of its universal qualities.
Hmm.
Mm.
Hmm.
So I think the system, the quantum touch techniques are made to open you to life. They're not techniques for healing. They're
Hmm.
techniques for living,
Hmm.
you know, and
Hmm.
not as something separate from you and separate from just like I have to learn this technique for walking. No, you just walk in your life. Thank
Hmm.
you.
Hmm.
And be very grateful that we can. The same is true with this, the techniques and the concepts and the way of working with ourselves that we learn and we experience in quantum touch.
Hmm.
My ideal goal is for for the technique to be completely transparent in a person's life.
Hmm.
It to be so embodied and so much a part of just waking up and saying hello to the world
Hmm.
that that's how they are.
I think that's
That's
starting.
universal.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Because I see that even in students, they might come because they want to learn a hands-on modality, and then they start using it in their day-to-day, and they start sharing of how they're using it. And they also quickly realize that you can use it in your day-to-day, and it becomes a lifestyle. Mhm.
Mhm.
Beautiful. So you also shared that you love the view quantum touch has on the body, and that in quantum touch, we see the body as a reflection of our consciousness. And you were talking about this in relationship to the level 3 workshop, Becoming Whole. So could you expand on that?
Yes, we very often have been taught that some emotions are good.
Mhm.
Everybody loves love. Everybody loves gratitude. Um, the gold star of emotion. But well, now anger, well, that's bad. And being sad or being hurt or all these other things that happen have sort of a judgmental perception. And it's not that we want to support being angry or encourage everyone to be angry and live in an angry state. But we have those uncomfortable emotions that what most people call air quotes uncomfortable
Hmm.
because for an effect, they're not a primary. In other words, something happens first that triggers that reaction
Hmm.
in us. And the same is true with any emotion. If we are having a wonderful conversation with someone, when you're Your son comes up to you with a big heart and say, "Hi, Mom," and a big smile. You have a reaction to that, and that you have a reaction for a reason. And that reason tells you what's important to you, what many things in that experience is important to you. Well, the same is true with the other kinds of emotions that we tend to push under the rug or push to the back of our awareness because we don't want to feel those things. But I think quantum touch has a different perspective, and I know that I really feel this with every bit of my heart. We have those uncomfortable emotions because we need to be aware of something. We need to not sit with them, but we need to see what is the message they're telling us. And if we kill the messenger, the emotion, before we understand what was underneath and what was important about feeling that, then we lose a part of our own heart. We lose a part of something that is alive in us, that feels things at a visceral level. And so level 3 gives us permission to let the parts of ourselves that we push down or back or judge, we make room for them to speak their truth safely, privately. It's you listening to you, to parts of you. You're not yelling to the neighbors or taking a baseball bat to their car. You're sitting and working with yourself, making room for the feeling to come up, so that part of yourself that is still alive, and it's still alive at a subatomic level, we call it quantum touch for a reason, that part of us can then say, okay, I've been heard, and now I can breathe again. And now I can ready to move forward, having learned from that experience. And this is how we grow. Level 3 is one of the clearest, cleanest processes I know, one of the most benevolent processes I know, that gives us permission to let those parts of ourselves come forward and speak their truth, so that they are ready to come into the whole of who we now are, with that wisdom included.
Absolutely.
So for me, it's priceless material. It's priceless.
Yeah, I still remember the first time I took the level 3 workshop. It literally changed my life, and I had no idea. I signed up for the workshop as a requirement. I don't know what it was about it. I didn't have an awareness of it. I didn't understand what it was going to be. I signed up because I needed it to become a practitioner, and I live in Canada. We don't have a lot of advanced workshops, so it was just like a logistical thing that Richard offered it online. I signed up, awesome. And right away, he asked for a volunteer. And as a student, I put up my hand right away. I wanted to be the demonstration volunteer, and he picked me. And at that time, we were trying to get pregnant, and it wasn't happening. And I didn't even have a period. I had already finished breastfeeding my son, and still month after month, no period. So not getting pregnant. So we go through the steps, and it almost felt like Richard was getting a little frustrated because he wasn't getting to the emotional root. And I'm like, oh, great. He can't even find my emotional root. And I was starting to get a little nervous, but he did. He got to that anger, and it made so much sense. And it was fascinating because, I mean, the process itself of finding the anger was probably 2 to 5 minutes. Like, it wasn't a long process, but I had no idea. But once it was uncovered, it made so much sense. So that kind of blew my mind. And then going through the process of Richard's becoming whole step. The next month, I got my period. The next month, we conceived our daughter, and we went on to have a beautiful pregnancy and home birth. And now she's this very vibrant 6-year-old, and it's incredible. And I continue to use that process, and it still leaves me in awe. And I think one of the things that Richard conveyed in that workshop was that the emotions had a purpose, that they're real, and that it's safe to feel them, and we don't have to hold on to them. So it like lifts that victim mentality. It not only empowers you because now you're allowed to feel what you are feeling, and you're not wrong. Like even the shame, it's not wrong to feel what you're feeling. And then it's such a simple process of releasing that. It's incredible. Hmm.
These are the doors you walk through.
Hmm.
You're not there saying, okay, I'm going to spend all my time paced up to this door of
Hmm.
anger.
Hmm.
No, it's a door you walk through to get to some deeper awareness that
Hmm.
the emotion was trying to get your attention to share.
Hmm.
It's a very powerful way. And for most, and to be honest, I would like for us to be equally sensitive to when we feel an open-hearted response to something. When we walk into a room and I'd like to talk to that person, we walk up and suddenly you just feel the energy flowing between you very comfortably, and you think, and you're beginning to feel like, wow, it feels like I've just met a friend.
Hmm.
And that's happening for a reason. That's another, what is that telling you? What markers are there for you
Hmm.
that lets you know, oh, okay, this is a compatibility. And it's, so in other words, these tell you more about yourself,
Hmm.
which is what I think any good healing modality needs to do. Show you more of yourself, let you
Hmm.
feel more of yourself in action,
Yeah.
you know?
And actually, last night I had a really crazy dream, which now that I'm talking to you about becoming whole, I'm trying to piece it all in my mind. I think this is what you mean by the embodiment of it. So my one
Mhm.
knee is kind of sore, kind of sore. Like I can still do a lot of things. I can still run, but if I want to apply weights, it talks to me. So I'm running energy to it and I'm running the energy to it, but it's still under pressure, will scream out. And I wake up from my dream, and it was a
There's the
very,
metaphor right there.
yes,
Sorry, there's the metaphor right there. That's the metaphor.
yeah.
Sorry, go
Uh,
ahead.
okay. So I wake up from my dream, and it was a very uncomfortable dream. It was a very disturbing dream. It was not pleasant.
Right.
And in the dream, the pain of my knee intensified, and I could see shame, and I could see how I wasn't asking for help. And
Wow.
it was very apparent. And then I woke up and there was no pain in my knee. I say to my husband, I'm like, I don't know what just happened because it was intense. Like I could feel it. I had never felt it that intense, but also it was like this awareness of shame in such a, oh, that's what it was. Okay. Cool. And I could shift it. It wasn't like I was, oh no, not shame. I don't want to see it. Like I didn't have, it was a very neutral response, a very like, oh, that's
Right.
interesting. Cool. And then I could shift it and move forward.
Excellent. That was a really beautiful self-healing. Hmm. And what
Mhm.
you just said when you were describing the pain, you were talking probably about pressure, like maybe on the gym, putting weights on, or if you really did, some other, but it's like, there it is. It's, I love how the language you use to describe these things
Mhm.
illuminate the fuller picture beyond what our original intention is saying there might have been. Yeah.
Mhm.
Wow.
Mhm.
Beautiful.
Now you had mentioned a
Really
book with
wonderful.
becoming whole. So what is the plan with becoming whole?
I've been the one holding off on it because I just haven't had this time in my schedule to really. I've done about 200 uh, case studies with it, or sessions with it, and I have a lot of the bones of it are in my head, and I've written a good third of it actually out there. It's just a process of making time in the schedule to
Right.
do this, as well as teach, as well as work with clients, as well as have a private life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how do you experience the Becoming Whole workshop? Like, what have been your insights from teaching it and from the 200 case studies? That's incredible.
People heal at their own pace.
Mm.
I think the number one encouragement I have is that within each of us is that inner healer
Mm-hmm.
that is orchestrating our ability to move ourselves through into greater coherence, into ease, into co-regulation, or whatever words you want to use.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm finding that even though someone may struggle here, or well, I'm not ready to go any further than this step number 2 right now, or um, there is within them the sense of when it is right to open that door
Mm-hmm.
and to be really compassionate about understanding that people heal at their own time
Mm-hmm.
and to trust that. Even if I never see it personally,
Mm-hmm.
they will get what they need when they need it.
Mm-hmm.
That over and over again, I start out with, I really want to accomplish these things help you
Mm-hmm.
accomplish these things for yourself. But I
Mm-hmm.
can't make them walk in those doors.
Mm-hmm.
I can pave the way, smooth the way as much as I can. But if it's not a right time for them,
Mm-hmm.
something else, they have it, it's their own timing,
Yeah.
and to trust that.
And I think that's an important message too to convey because I've been recently receiving many students wanting to heal loved ones and a very beautiful intention, but remembering that we can't heal anyone and that their healing is going to happen for their own greatest and highest good. And absolutely, we can support them and share this love with them, but we can't force them or rush them. Hmm.
Mm, yeah, it's really true. More and more really appreciate this body of work that is quantum touch, that every person who's learning it is adding to the field of it.
Hmm. Hmm.
This is something else that is so different from other modalities.
Hmm.
Usually, this is what the founder says, and this is maybe their number one student or it's whatever, and then it is fixed usually. But with quantum touch, we want the insights. We want your living,
Hmm.
active moments of
Hmm.
inspiration. We'd
Hmm.
love to hear the sharing
Hmm.
because that's what helps supports the energy of the organization itself,
Hmm.
not from a have to do this. Um,
Hmm.
but, it's like writing home to mom, hey, this happened this week. Isn't that great? It's like, let us know your joys. Let us know how things are opening so
Hmm.
that you can,
Hmm.
it's like it's just part of the collective inspiration of it all.
Hmm.
And sometimes in looking at the world out there,
Hmm.
inspiration is the one thing people need more than
Hmm.
anything else.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Have begun to see it in terms of resonance that, it's easier for me to see that they're having that issue and they can heal. But there's a part of me in resonance with that issue. So can I see and honor that within myself and shift the energy and hold the
That's the key.
compassion, right? That's going to then radiate out. And that has become an experience for myself. Is can I hold that, catch that awareness and then
Both
notice,
holding
yeah,
both at the same time and not have them contradict one another.
yeah.
That can be true, and this can be true. Yeah. And then run energy where you feel it in your body, your
Hmm.
reaction, and then
Hmm.
see where that telegraphs and where that goes, because that may open a door that brings you to a whole different new rabbit hole.
Hmm. Hmm.
Speaking of rabbits. Mm.
Yeah, we love rabbits. We have four on our property and they just kind of bop around with the chickens and they're such a joy to watch.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely. It's so interesting. I practice at Qigong uh, like 4 or 5 mornings a week. It's around 6:30 in the morning, and there are two dogs that practice. And I always come in and run energy in the room first, and they always come up.
Mm.
and sniff my hands when I'm running energy, like, oh, they can smell something,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
quantum touch doesn't have a fragrance, but they can feel the vibrational frequency.
Yeah.
It's quantum touch really can it when I do that, the times I have extra moments to run energy before class, the qigong is always better.
Mm.
The balance, on the balls of the feet are
Mm.
solid, with no wobbling in the ankles,
Mm-hmm.
just straightforward and everything
Mm-hmm.
in expansion.
Mm-hmm.
No issue whatsoever. And you feel it all the way through. Your energy starts to circulate all the way down and all the way up.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what this is. And it's all just designed to get us to connect,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
thank you, Quantum Touch, for that.
Yeah.
And thank you for sharing what you do, Thea, because you're doing beautiful work.
Thank you.
Really.
Thank you so much. This has been so great. I'm glad that we got to have this conversation. So thank you so much for joining us, Henri.